Working from home gained massive popularity during the pandemic. Millions of workers forced to work from home over the past few years, and many still have yet to go back to the office. But many bosses are still keeping a close and watchful eye on their employees. They continue to monitor their every move. And one Australian woman learned this the hard way. Keystroke technology installed on her work computer tracked her workflow for about 2 months. So let's take a look. The technology revealed she didn't work her total scheduled hours for 44 of those days. She started late on 47 of the days. She finished early on 29 days and apparently did absolutely nothing on 4 days. So this big brother-like activity, of course, is not uncommon. We've all heard of it. Employees we know, employers can track data from your keyboard, see how often you're typing, even take a look through your webcam, which is disturbing. They can also monitor your browsing activity, your app use. They can restrict certain websites. But what is the cost of this around-the-clock surveillance, and is it worth potentially losing valuable staffers? Let's bring in business and finance journalist Kristin Myers. Kristin, great to speak with you. Hearing this, obviously, I think makes everybody, clench up a little bit. Not happy to hear this. But how much employee surveillance?
It's definitely a little icky.
Yeah, like how much employee surveillance is really going on in your average company, let's say?
Okay, so we have to consider that this needs to be for a company about 500 employees or more. And I hate to break it to you, Nichole, about 80% actually of at least US companies or American companies are doing some sort of monitoring. So if you are at home and you're watching this, perhaps, well, it's the middle of the day right now for most of us. So if you're working from home and you're watching this program, chances are, if you're at a larger company, you are being monitored, particularly if your company gave you a work cell phone or a work laptop. Almost all companies are using some sort of surveillance programming on any kind of company given hardware or software. So you should really just be acting as if all of your communications are being monitored. They can see your emails. They can see those gossipy messages you might be sending in Slack or on Google Chats. They can see what websites you're visiting during the workday. So a lot of this communication or a lot of your activity is essentially being monitored. But I do want to say that you shouldn't be too afraid because, as you were mentioning just in the beginning here, it's not exactly really time or cost effective for managers to spend all day, every day, trying to figure out every little thing that you're doing.
Right, because then that's also taking time away from what they're doing. Let's all hope. It's pretty obvious, Chris, why employers would want to keep track of their employees. Obviously, they are the ones signing the checks. But, let's talk about the negative repercussions here. None of us like to hear this. No one certainly likes to feel like they're being spied on, even if we really are.
So absolutely. It's a little bit big brothery, almost feels like your mom or dad is monitoring you. And I think that the prevailing sentiment here is if I get my work done and I'm a productive member of this company, I'm still hitting all of my quotas and all of those things, why do you feel the need to spy on me? And if you are in this type of work environment where you feel like you're being consistently micromanaged and you have managers or IT or HR constantly coming to you and saying, we don't think that you did enough keystrokes on Wednesday, that is going to be a pretty quick way for companies to start bleeding out some of their really great employees. But what I think is what's happening and what is happening in this particular story is if you are someone who is lagging behind, if you do miss deadlines, you're not making your meetings, and you are constantly or you're consistently becoming a problem for your company, they might go and check that activity on your laptop and actually use that hard and fast data against you, which unfortunately this woman in Australia did find out. She actually did even try to complain that her firing was essentially unfair. And unfortunately for her, the Fair Work Commission did not side in her favor. They said, hey, we actually saw the data. We saw the numbers. You were not doing your job, and you have no explanation as to why.
Yeah, and there's not a lot you can do, especially, as we said, we're using, our employers' equipment. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.